Welcome to hashtag This Is Me Stories of Living Heart First, a listening series by ARC, a Rainbow Collective. Here we hold space for the tender, strange, and powerful ways people live creatively, love freely, and move through the world with heart first. In this noisy world, we are tuning into something deeper, who we are beneath this performance, the product, the labels. Today I'm joined by Hansika. How would you like to introduce yourself without mentioning your job or role?
I'm a human being existing on this earth, floating. And I like a lot of things like nature, and I like creative things, and I like water. Nature things is definitely one of the nature things is definitely this beautiful green fields. And I think just like sometimes you're like riding your scooty and go on, like there's so much beautiful greenery around you, and you're just like, oh my god, I live around so much greenery. And like, yeah, those moments also I like. Sitting in like grass for long periods of time, sitting on grass for long periods of times. Creative things, I love reading, I love writing, I love painting and drawing, and yeah, anything that has to do with my hands also. I am realizing I really enjoy like making things with hands and fingers.
What feels like home to you right now in your body, your life, your art?
Mm, this space, this balcony, actually, in the last few months has been a sanctuary for sure. Spending a lot of time here, working and existing and being. And Goa is really home now. Like it just feels like home. Like now that like every time I have to like leave it and go somewhere, especially if that's like a long travel, there's so much grief that comes up. So yeah, and I think just like my heart feels so much more like at ease and calm in the last like 2 years especially, and I feel very at home in my own heart. Yeah.
What's one memory or moment that shaped the way you see the world today?
I think moving to China at the age of 13, I feel like I grew up in kind of like a um, conservative environment. Like in Indonesia, I grew up in like, I'm Sindhi and I grew up around like a lot of like the Sindhi community, and it was a bit of a bubble. And I think that I didn't think, like, I thought that that would be my life. I would have to get married in my early 20s, have a child. Like, I thought that's just what people do. And like, I thought I would do exactly like what my mom did, what my grandma did. And I think when we moved to China when I was 13, and I met loads of people from all over the world, I realized that like this world is so big and there's people from all over the world that exist, and like so many cultures, and everything is so different. And I think it just, I came out of this bubble a little bit that I think I was in, and like I think that definitely shaped the rest of my life because it made me more open and like opened my horizons at a very young age. And I definitely realized that my life can be very different as well. Yeah.
What are you learning to listen to right now?
I think I'm learning to listen to like signs from the universe more. I feel like the universe is like constantly communicating with us, and sometimes it's like we don't even realize it's communicating with us. And I'm trying to listen to that guidance and the intuition and like the signs from outside and the messages more.
Is there a sound, silence, or a song that has stayed with you lately?
Yeah, I mean, something that's coming to mind is yesterday. There was this beautiful moment. I was doing a private group session, and um, it was a breathwork session with a microdose of some medicine. And So it was like the environment was already like this really like deep introspective environment, and then there was this like moment where I was playing some music by East Forest, who specifically also they create music for mushrooms, and there was like this moment where there was this stillness and there was this beautiful sound from the music, and I could see greenery, and it was just like wow, it was like such a magical moment. Silence, actually, it just sounded like silence and stillness.
Inside you?
Yeah, inside, outside, yeah, and like almost like bliss vibes.
How do you know when it's time to pause or to express?
I know it's time to pause when I feel overwhelmed, when I feel there's too much happening inside me, outside of me. I know it's like an important time to like pause and slow down. And I know it's, I mean, time to express, I feel like it just comes to here, like, and it's just ready to come out. Whether that's like making a new piece of work, a zine, or whether it's writing something personal and sharing it as a caption on the internet. I feel like when something just wants to come out, like there's no stopping like that happening. It just wants to. Yeah.
How does your queerness or your way of being different show up in how you live and create?
Mm, I think it is there in like every fabric of what I do, like whether it's how I'm living, like choosing to, I don't know, live in like a remote village of Goa in Arambol, which I think a lot of people don't always understand, but like as in like maybe like um, I don't know, family, extended family, etc. But I also touch wood have a very supportive family, especially my sisters and parents, and yeah, I think also just like the work that I'm doing, whether it's like the art that I create or the space holding work I do, I feel like by the nature of like having had such a intense journey, for the lack of a better word, with like life from a young age, whether it was things I experienced or like even those few years when I like was navigating coming out, it was a lot because I grew up, like I said, in a very like conservative family and culture. So there was like a lot of battles to fight internally and also externally in some ways. And I think having been through all of that has just like created this sense of maybe freedom inside me now because of those things that I had to like go through and experience. And then it feels like I carry that in whatever I do and the art I create or the spaces I hold. I think it's also about accessing that within ourselves. Yeah.
Do you want to like share what any one of those struggles or like the internal turmoils that you went through?
Yeah. There's so many, but I think like when I first came out, I feel like I knew I was like bi, and I knew that like I associated more with like bisexuality or pansexuality. But then I was dating somebody who made me feel like I had to be only into women to be with them. And I think that was a struggle, an internal struggle for many years because it made me question my own authentic identity that was showing up for me. And at the same time, I was experiencing this beautiful relationship that was so new that I was also then, and I was such a like baby queer, and so then I was just like kind of in this like battle, and then I ended up coming out to my parents as like a lesbian, and I think um, even though deep down I knew that I resonated more with like bisexuality and pansexuality, and so I think that was also quite like a, I don't know, a struggle, a journey. I mean, regardless whether what I came out as, like at the end of the day, there are anyway labels. I am queer, and I was dating someone who is a woman. So that itself was like a huge thing to navigate with my family, regardless of whether I was bi or lesbian, actually, because the fact that I was like in a relationship with a woman was just like a big thing to navigate as well. So yeah, I think that was definitely one of the one like many hurdles, and I think that's also two hurdles combined together because that was like one thing of like sharing with my family, like I'm in a relationship with a woman. Another thing is like accepting my own queerness in a way that feels like authentic to me. Like I struggled with that because I felt like I had to kind of conform to what my partner wanted me to be. Yeah.
Later on, when you got like in touch with, let's say, all of your queerness, did you come out to your family again, like, or did that identity change over time? Like,
I think, I mean, it's funny because I don't think I've ever explicitly, I can't remember if I've ever explicitly had a conversation with my parents afterwards and tell them, like, look, actually, I think I'm bi and pansexual, not lesbian. I don't think I ever told them this, so hello. Maybe you know this now.
this is it.
um, but I think they know because, like, after, um, like in recent years, I had a connection with a dude, so I think they knew that like okay, she's fluid, like, and I think it was just like an unspoken thing with my parents. But they know that I'm very queer, and they are very chill about that now.
What's one moment of queer joy or creative freedom that you hold close?
Mm, I feel like creative freedom, touch wood, and I'm so grateful that I experienced that a lot, like because I'm doing things for my own self in the sense that I'm not working for anyone right now. Um, there's so much of creative freedom in my life, and that's so fun. Yeah. Um, and I think one such memory that's coming up related to queer freedom, creative freedom, but also queer freedom, is like recently I was working with a client who mm, we were doing a series of sessions, and towards the end, they shared as well, like wanting to be able to write more poetry again. And even though in my sessions, like I'm doing somatic work, because I'm an artist and like art has been a big part of my own healing journey, I tend to bring art into the sessions. But like suddenly there was just this like, okay, then like, let's bring poetry into this space. And I'd never really done that, like do like almost like a one-on-one poetry session with a human being where we were delving into like reading and then noticing how we were feeling in our body and then writing, and it was very beautiful. And I think that was like creative freedom right there. Like I felt like I was just like free to like creatively tap into different ways of accessing our body, and just supported her in whatever way felt like intuitively right. And it just felt so freeing to do that, like because I think if I worked as like say if I worked as a, I don't know, a psychologist at an institute, I'm sure there would be like maybe some rigidity to follow. And I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I feel like um, that's really cool that I can just like, there's this a lot of creative freedom in the spaces also that I don't I don't like rules actually, and I don't like to bind myself by like this is how things need to be done. And I think yeah, that's a moment that I can remember. Like, wow, this is so cool to do. Like, this just happened. Like, wow. So yeah, and queer joy. Um, I feel like recently a few of us were at the queer Kinara party, and selling my art there was just really nice. Yeah, like it was a really wholesome evening. I think to be surrounded by other queers, and yeah, like I was sharing a space and table with Kalai, who's a really dear friend as well, and it just felt nice. It was like a joyful moment and evening.
Aw, that's sweet. Who are your people? The ones who remind you that it's okay to be exactly who you are.
Mm, you and so many other people. I'm so grateful to be surrounded by so many people who encourage me to just be who I am and never make me feel like I need to be anyone else. Yeah, I'm so grateful to know so many people like that in Goa as well.
Would you want to share like a story where like of one of these champions of your creative life, like where let's say you went through something creatively or like in your personal life and this champion showed up and was like, hey, you can be yourself.
I think one of my closest friends, who right now we're not friends because we're giving each other some space because we were in a situation. Too many personal things are coming out of my mouth. It's okay.
That's okay.
um, he was very encouraging. Yeah, I was just exiting and had exited a very long relationship of almost 4 years, 4 months, and it was difficult to leave that relationship, but it also felt right. So I just listened to that guidance. And I was going through a hard time myself, like very hard. But I think he could see that I'm a creative person and I had a lot of like creative uh, like desires, and he in many ways encouraged that, and it kind of then led us to creatively collaborating and like painting together a lot, and also starting to like upcycle bottles together and stuff. And I think that was like, I think doing those things really helped me at a time that I didn't even realize that like I needed help, like it was a very difficult time in my life. And I think like actually just having this human being who was so also invested in creativity and like experimenting with new ideas, just suddenly there was this, even though there was all this heaviness and sadness, there was also this other energy in my life of just like fun and joy and experimentation. And I think that was a lot of the creations we did make together. And we even ran something for quite a while where we were like fully like painting on upcycling bottles and glass things. And it was really fun, like, and brought a lot of joy into my life and really connected me back again to like using my hands. So yeah.
What are you weaving right now? Is like a part of the heart
Yeah.
first futures? Like, so now that you're following your heart and like doing things that you want, what are you weaving right now?
I think personally I'm weaving just more of that connection with the heart. Like I feel like every day I really make space to listen to what my heart wants, and I just wish to do that more and more, like deepen that connection with my heart. And I think professionally I'm writing a book, which is kind of scary but also exciting because I've only ever made zines, but it feels like it's time to write something bigger. So that's happening. And communally, I feel like I had this idea the other day, and maybe me saying it here will also help make it happen. But I would love to like curate a zine festival in Goa. I feel like we don't have something like that here, and like I go every year to Bombay Zine Fest, and I think to have something like that here would be so cool. So maybe in a few months that could be something that I put together for all the artists and people here, people like us, the queer community. I feel like we all have so much to say, and like zines are such a beautiful way of doing that. And yeah, I would love to bring us all together through zines.
Do you want to tell about like what the book is about, or like do you want to keep it a secret for now?
It's about like trigger warning, remembering being sexually abused as a child, and like how that impacted the rest of my life. Like when I remember that in my early 20s. But it's also about love and my heart, and it's about how like the pain of those memories like really helped me access more open-heartedness through which I think I live today. So yeah, that's what it's about.
What's something you've unlearned that's helped you live more freely?
Hmm. I think growing up, I felt like I had to be a certain way, like I had to fit a mold of what my parents expected me to be, or what like extended family expected me to be. I think unlearning that burden of expectations has definitely been the biggest win of my life, because like younger versions of Hansika like I don't know, I was just like I felt so burdened by expectations. I think letting go and like unlearning that I'm not here to conform to anyone's expectation of me. I'm here to just be me, like whatever that looks like, whoever that is. I'm here to be like authentic, and if that authenticity is triggering for someone else, it's okay, like because I'm here to be me. And I think unlearning that and coming into acceptance of this has been the most freeing thing for sure.
I think we are at the end of our thing. Finish this sentence. This is me and I dash.
This is me and I dash. This is me and I love life. I am so grateful for life. Despite all the pains and the hardships and the struggles, like I think life is really beautiful, and I can see so much beauty in the pain now.
Oh, thank you. Okay, last like before we end this whole thing,
Yes.
since we did not talk about what you actually do in life, you want to give an introduction for yourself,
Sure.
just like who you are and what you do and like things like that.
I'm a poet and visual artist and somatic healing coach. I'd say like those things are very important in my life right now, and I think yeah, like I grew up outside of India, but I moved to India a few years ago, and that transition was also interesting. But like now, India is home, and even though I didn't grow up here, I feel the most home I've ever felt anywhere here, especially here in Goa, because maybe it's also like a mix of like feeling like you're in India vibes, but also feeling like you're in this international community vibes, and kind of reminds me of also the places I grew up in. So I like making zines. I have 14 zines right now, and the collection is growing. And I'm painting a lot more these days on like large canvases. I'm making a lot of yonis. I've been connecting a lot with like, yeah, the yoni. And somatic healing work is a combination of like breath work and somatic experiencing and expressive arts, but the crux of it is really creating a space for people to connect with their bodies. I love doing women's circles and also full moon ceremonies.
Yay! Thank you, thank you, Hansika, for letting us into your world, your heart, and your creative rhythm. To everyone tuning in, thank you for listening, feeling, and being here. Keep creating, keep becoming, and always live heart first.
Yay!
See you next time on This Is Me.
We did it. Thank you.
How was this?
Yeah, good.
Was it fun?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you think this will be like a cool series?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many people that you have in mind. I have no doubt that it'll like collect into like a really beautiful thing.